Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Well, you're in luck. It's time for this summer's special mailbag edition of West Wing Week. I'm Elizabeth Olson, the director of Presidential Correspondence, and this week we're taking a moment to highlight some of your letters out of the thousands that arrive every day here at the White House. That's August 24th to August 30th, or it's Summer Mailbag Time. First, we went over to the National Economic Council to see Deputy Director Brian Deese, who answered some of your letters about the economy.
One topic that is high on people's minds is middle-class tax cuts, and I have a letter from Illinois and from Wisconsin on the issue of tax cuts, and specifically a question from Wisconsin that addresses a question about whether or not the administration plans to pay for the next middle-class tax cut by slashing food stamps as well as Social Security. It's a rumor that's out there, and they wanted us to confirm or deny. Short answer, that's absolutely false. The president does have a plan to keep taxes low for middle-class families while bringing down our deficit over the next decade. It's on the website. You can look at it in detail. It protects Social Security and other programs that help our most vulnerable Americans. And it does this by asking the wealthiest Americans to pay a little bit more in taxes. Another issue we hear about all the time is education, in particular student debt. I picked out a letter here from California, and I want to read exactly what it says. President Obama, I am writing to see where are we going on student loan debt. I am a middle-aged man that owns a small business. So a couple issues here. The first is the president has promoted something called income-based repayments. What this basically means is simple. If you get into this program, you will never have to pay more than a set amount, 10 or 15% of your income in student loan debt. It's a very powerful program because it allows you to take the jobs that you need to take and never have that student debt be an overwhelming a burden on you. I would also note that this writer here is a small business owner, and helping small business owners succeed has been a priority for this president. He's cut taxes for small businesses 18 times. He has proposals to provide additional tax cuts, including eliminating capital gains taxes for investments in new small businesses, and is focused on trying to make sure that businesses, small businesses in particular, can get the capital they need to grow, because we know that small businesses are the engines of job creation in our economy.
We then went over to the Domestic Policy Council to talk with Cecilia Munoz about some of the letters she'd read about healthcare reform and the new deferred action process.
So this email comes from California. It's a question about the new healthcare law. And what's important to know is that the point of the law is to make sure that folks across the country have access to security and the healthcare that they need at an affordable cost. So, for example, under this new law, insurance companies can't deny you coverage because you get sick or because you're a woman or charge you lifetime limits. Children who have pre-existing conditions can't be discriminated against by insurance companies. And there is a rule in place that says insurance companies have to spend 80 cents of every dollar that you pay in premiums on your actual health care, not on bonuses, not on administrative costs. And that is having the impact of reducing the cost of premiums across the country. So there are a lot of benefits of the law, and the place to find out about it is a website called healthcare.gov, where you can look at your leisure and get all of your questions answered about the new reform. So here's another letter. It comes from Florida, and it's about the new deferred action policy that Secretary Napolitano announced a few weeks ago. This is a policy under which the Secretary is using her enforcement authority to say we're going to concentrate on doing immigration enforcement against the people who cause the greatest harm, and we're not going to use our resources on people who are lower priority. So young people in particular who came to this country as children, who were brought here by their parents, can actually come forward and request something called deferred action in work authorization so that they can stay in this country and work for a period of 2 years, which could be extended over time. So this is DHS's decision. They're going to be making decisions on people who apply on a case-by-case basis. It's an exercise of their enforcement authority. The best place to get information is from DHS's website. In particular, you can go to www.uscis.gov/childhood arrivals, and there you'll find all the information that you need to know about who's eligible and how they can apply. Thank you so much, and please keep writing us. You can send letters, you can call us, you can send faxes and emails. We love getting your questions. We love knowing what it is that you want to know and being able to share information with you. Thanks a lot.
Here are a few highlights from the week.
As we prepare for Isaac to hit. I want to encourage all residents of the Gulf Coast to listen to your local officials and follow their directions, including if they tell you to evacuate. As we get additional updates from the Hurricane Center, as well as from FEMA in terms of activities on the ground, we'll be providing continuous updates both at the local and the national level.
On Thursday, we sat down with Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes, who spoke about the upcoming 2-year anniversary of the end of the war in Iraq for The Roads Ahead.
Hi. 2 years ago, on August 31st, 2010, President Obama traveled to Fort Bliss, Texas, to mark the end of our combat mission in Iraq. This was the end of the United States being responsible for the security of Iraq, and it was one important milestone on the way to removing all of our troops from Iraq and bringing an end to the Iraq War after so many years of sacrifice. In that speech at Fort Bliss, the President spoke about the fact that part of ending a war responsibly involves standing by those who fought it. Now he's going to return to Fort Bliss 2 years later to mark the anniversary of the end of the combat mission in Iraq, the end of the Iraq War, and our broader effort to responsibly wind down a decade of war in both Iraq and Afghanistan. He'll talk not just about the wars, though, but about our obligation to stand by those who fought them and their families. That means making sure they have the health care they need, including the mental health care to deal with issues like post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury that so many of our soldiers and troops are wrestling with, as well as standing by our military families, making sure they have the educational opportunities they deserve, and then making sure that our veterans have employment opportunities so that they can go about doing the work of rebuilding our nation at home that they've served so well abroad. So the President, as he always does, looks forward to this moment as Commander-in-Chief to speak to our servicemen and women, to speak to their families, and to speak to all Americans about the obligation we have to stand by those who served us so well.
To find out more information on any of these topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.